Good morning, kindergarten artists. Mrs. Langless here, and I think this is about our fourth remote art project. Keep up the great work. I've been really enjoying the artwork that has been posted to Seesaw and sent in to me. I love seeing what you're up to. So today we're going to work on an artwork that looks a lot like this one that you can see right now. This artwork today is all about shapes. So lately we've been talking a lot about line and about how important line is in art. And the main reason for that is because lines make everything and lines make shapes. So first what I want to do is just review some simple shapes with you today. So I'm going to move this artwork and show you some shapes that I have right here. One of our simple shapes, and these are shapes that my artists use in my classes, which is why they have crayon on them. So this shape is a square and it has 4 straight edges. There are lots of squares probably around you, so if you take a look around the room that you're sitting in, see if you can find something that is a square. I know right away that right straight ahead of me is a square window. Now let's move on to another shape. Now this shape is kind of like a square. It's called a rectangle. So a rectangle also has 4 straight sides, but see if you can figure out what's different. With a rectangle, they have 2 long sides and 2 shorter sides. All right, take a look around you. Rectangles are so incredibly common around you. I know that if I look at the doorway in my office, it is definitely a rectangle. All right, next shape. Circles. Yes, a circle is a really cool shape because it has one line that curves around all the way to where you started, and this is a circle. You can think of things like the sun or a ball. Maybe a glass next to you, that would be a circle. Next is an oval, and oh my goodness, the word isn't on there. Let me see if I can grab a marker and I can spell that right now. So, an oval, here's what the word looks like. An oval is a lot like a circle, so let me pop that one back up there. An oval is a lot like a circle, but it's just stretched out a little bit, so it's a little bit wider, kind of like an egg shape in a way. All right, then finally we have a triangle. So triangles are great because they have 3 straight sides, just like this. Take a look around the room where you are and see if you can find a triangle. Those might be a little bit trickier. I know that when I look around the room, there was a letter A. So if you think about a capital letter A, let me see if I have a piece of paper here. I'll flip this over. If I have an A and I make an A, I know that there's a triangle right in my letter A. So that's what I'm looking at on my wall right now. All right, and then finally, oh, this is a really cool shape. This shape is a diamond. So let me show you what that word looks like. Diamond. Now, a diamond's kind of cool because it actually is 2 separate triangles, one on top of the other. So if I cover here, you can see how there's a triangle on top. And then if I cover here, you can see how there's a triangle on bottom, and it makes a really cool shape called a diamond. So today we are going to use shapes to create an artwork that looks kind of like this. Mine's a little bit bigger than the piece of paper that you'll be working with. This is an example that I had laying around. You are going to be creating an artwork similar to this one right here. Now, normally in my class, we use shapes like this that have already been cut out to trace, but I thought it would be really cool, since you're at home or wherever you're working today, for you to go on a bit of a scavenger hunt. So what I would like you to do is take a look around the room for something that is a circle. So for example, Mrs. Langless has this reel of fishing line that I borrowed from my husband. got a cool spider on it too, which is pretty neat. But this is a circle I noticed, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that for this project. So I grabbed this reel as a circle, and then I looked around a little bit more, and I had this container of honey, and I noticed that the bottom was shaped like an oval. So I thought, okay, I'm going to use that one. Then I had this little packet of tea that actually is a rectangle. So I decided to grab that as well. And then I also found a larger rectangle. Let me see if I can show you. Here is a box of tissues that I found, and I noticed that it was a rectangle, so I thought, okay, I can use that one too. So find some of the shapes that we just talked about and put them near your workspace. Once you've collected those shapes, here is what we're going to do with them. Grab a piece of paper from your portfolio, and you will also need some crayons. So I've got my crayons already here. Now I've got some of my objects that I'm going to use. And here, oh, I just found another one. I have this plastic container of Sharpies that I'm going to use, and I noticed that it's circular. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with this container, and I'm just going to place it on my paper. I'm going to hold the container down with my hand, and then I'm going to take my crayon. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm going to take my crayon while I'm holding the container, and I'm just going to trace around the shape. So here comes my circle. I went all the way around. Now I'm going to move the container, and there it is. Really cool circle. Now, I'm going to do a different shape. And if you can't find all the shapes, like I noticed looking around, I couldn't find a triangle anywhere, and I couldn't find a diamond shape. So if you can't find those, no big deal. Just use what you have, and we can make a really cool artwork. So I'm going to grab my tea bag here, and I think this time I'm going to put this shape right over here. Different color this time, and again, you have to hold it with one hand while you're tracing with the other. So in order to trace, now that you can see this time a little bit better, I'm going to take my orange crayon and I'm going to place it against the shape, and then I'm just going to follow the edges carefully. Now I'm going to come around this side. If you miss a spot, don't worry, just go back and do it again. And now I'm going to do this. Now I noticed that one was a little bit trickier for me because it kind of moved. So when I take the rectangle away, I'm just going to go ahead and, remake those corners so it looks like a rectangle. And there it is. That one looks really close to a square, actually. If it was a little bit shorter, I think it would be a square. All right, now I'm going to do the oval. So I'm going to grab a different color. And this time, I think I'm going to do something kind of interesting with my oval. So I'm going to place my little honey container right here. There's my oval. And I'm going to hold down again. And then I'm going to just trace around the container. And there it is. All right, now I just found another really cool rectangle. Just looked on my desk, and guess what? Here's my stapler. It's a rectangle. So I'm going to grab a different color. Let's see, I think this one. Now this time, I'm going to overlap my shapes. So overlapping is one shape is on top of another, just like this, okay? So I'm overlapping my rectangle on my circle, and let's see how cool this looks when we're done. So I'm going to trace my stapler. And there's my rectangle. Now I have that cool shape because of the overlapping. Awesome. All right, I am going to switch to a different color now, maybe this blue over here. And whoa, I've got a huge shape. I'm gonna use that tissue box, and it's pretty much the same size as my paper, even a little bit bigger. I think I'm gonna do some major overlapping here. So I'm gonna make it go diagonally across my paper. And this time it's also going to go off the edges of my paper. I like to do that in my artwork because then it makes it seem like the world of my artwork goes beyond the edges. And let's see, one more right there. Wow. That's some cool overlapping right there. Now it feels like when I look at my artwork, it feels like there's something sort of missing over in here. So I'm going to take a different shape. Maybe I'll use the fishing line. Hopefully my husband's not missing this. And I'm going to put it right about here. And maybe I'll use a color that I haven't used yet. Let's see. How about, oh, this black color. I'm going to have to keep the line out of the way so it doesn't mess up my circle. So I'm going to hold it still, and again, I'm just going to go ahead and trace. There it is. All right. Now, I can keep adding shapes to fill up the rest of my paper here, or if you feel satisfied with what it looks like, you like the way that it looks, you can stop there. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to color it, okay? So here's something that I really like to do. With the tracing, we used the tip of the crayon, right? Now, I have some old crayons around, and what I like to do with old crayons is I like to take the peeling right off. Please get permission to do this with your crayons. Sometimes I know parents don't like it when the wrapper's off. This is really good for like broken crayons too. It's a really good use for them. So for example, I have this whole collection. I'll just show you right here. I have this whole collection of crayons that have been broken over the years, and I've just taken the wrappers right off. Now, what's great about these is that you can use the tip still, but you can also use the side. And this takes some practice. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to flip our paper over so that we can practice on the other side. So if you have a peeled crayon, you're going to put it down on your paper. And then you're just going to pinch it just like this, just above the paper. And then I just want you to rub the paper back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then it gives you this really beautiful soft color and texture of whatever is underneath your paper. So you can see here, there must be a line. I bet it's of this right here. You can see it kind of coming through the paper, and it creates sort of a cool thing there. I like that. That looks neat. And then you can change colors. So I've got an orange. So if you have some old crayons that you want to peel, you can use more than one color. So now that we've practiced on the back, always a good idea, we are going to color in the front of our artwork that we just made. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my crayons without wrappers. And again, instead of using the tip, we're going to use the side. So just put your crayon down on the paper and then pinch. Once you've got it pinched, just color back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm getting that really cool line that was under my paper again, which I really like. And then I'm going to switch colors just because I feel like it and I think it will look nice. So I grabbed a yellow. Now I think I'm going to use some orange. And when you color, just go right off the edge of your paper. So you may want to put like I have a piece of paper under here to act as a mat, but you may want to put something under your artwork so you don't get crayon on your table or workspace. And then I'm going to switch to green. Okay, and then I think I will change colors again. End up sort of with a gray. Again, if you have only one color of your crayon without a wrapper, feel free to just do it with one color. Oh, I really like that color. So I'm just going to finish up the edges with that. And there it is. You can do some blending of colors if you want. It creates this really beautiful artwork with the nice soft texture, and we practiced our shapes at the same time, so it looks really great. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with this, especially because we're going to have all kinds of different objects that we'll use for this, so it'll be interesting to see what shapes you come up with. Please send me your artwork when you're finished, upload to Seesaw, or send it to me by email, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Have a great week, everyone, and stay tuned for the next kindergarten remote art project. Thanks.